For sure. All right, keep talking to us about this.
Yes.
Now we're going to talk about the equal pay debate.
Oh, yes.
And this one specific story having to do with Emma Stone. And she came out with something interesting.
Yeah.
What was that fun fact?
Yeah, so Emma Stone, in case you're not aware who she is, was one of the actresses, Academy Award-winning actress now for the movie La La Land. But she went on record to say that she discusses pay and has made steps to try to equal things out in regards to gender inequality with payment. So, we can hear a little speech right here, but I'll talk right over that. She said, "In my career so far, I've needed my male co-stars to take a pay cut so that I may have parity with them." And then she goes on to say, and that's something that they do for me because they feel it's what's right and what's fair. Now, she didn't specifically in this interview say that she went to Ryan Gosling or some of her former co-stars in any other movies in particular, right, about the pay inequality that she may have experienced. But she did say she has had to go to them and to try to even things out because, as we've seen in Hollywood, nobody's just going to give you money. That's just not the tone.
And like you mentioned, Cornelia, we don't know if she went to any of these men and said, hey, will you take a pay cut for me in order for us to get the bigger conversation out there that equal pay is important. We don't know if she did that or if the men decided to say, hey, you know what? You're getting paid this. I found out, because these aren't discussions, right? You don't just know when you go into a contract, if you're an actor or an actress, what your counterparts are making, right? This is common knowledge.
No, only time you know what people are making if it's specifically on SAG terms and there's no outside negotiations in regards to that. So like commercial money, everybody's getting the same money because that's the SAG contract. Those are the rates outlined. Exactly.
So we don't know if then they voluntarily said, hey, we'll take the pay cut, or if the casting directors who are saying, hey, you want to be in this movie, you're not going to get paid what Emma Stone, you're not going to be getting paid more than what Emma Stone is being paid because we want equal pay rights across the board. So we don't know how all of this went down. We just know that Emma Stone's coming out and saying that she's had to have her counterparts, her male counterparts, take a pay cut.
Yeah, and I think this now opens the discussion, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're watching and you disagree with me, that this could go for any career in any industry. If I wanted to, I could walk into a news director in a news station's office and say, I want to get paid exactly what that person's getting paid, and they can say, sorry, not happening. There's a lot of different reasons. Your experience, the types of roles you've played, the types of things you've done, the way you are going to be portrayed in these particular roles. But if she is setting that boundary to say, I will not be in a movie if my male counterpart and I are not at the same level, I say props to her. And I think that that's a bold movement. That's a bold statement. It's a risky thing to do because I'm sure there could be some people saying, no, my minimum is here. And Emma's like, well, I'm only getting this. So if you decide you don't want to get what I'm getting, then you're not going to be in the movie potentially.
But I don't think she has that kind of...
Well, maybe she doesn't, but it sounds like these guys that are doing this are almost voluntarily doing it to say, you're right, this needs to be fair. So she makes it sound like in the article, and again, we don't know all the different details about it, but it makes it sound like the men have been willing because they agree that that's what's fair.
Unless the studio is like, you are not going to get casted unless you take what Emma's getting paid, which to them is a pay cut because their base pay may already be higher.
Well, then to me, the discussion needs to be then, so why is it that they have to take a pay cut for Emma? Why can't her salary be bumped up to theirs in order to be a part of the movie?
And that's exactly what Janet Piper said. She says, I think it's noble for the co-stars to take a pay cut so that she can get equal pay. However, casting directors should have paid her fairly from the start.
And it's bigger than casting directors. Again, you got the studios, you got the executives, you got the producers on board. So either way, and then there's but this isn't new to Hollywood. Jennifer Lawrence spoke out about this at one point in time after the Sony hack, when everything was revealed about what was really going down behind the scenes, and she found out she was making drastically more than some of her co-stars. And Jennifer Lawrence is, again, she has an Academy Award as well. And then recently, the two Asian Hawaii Five-0 actors left Hawaii Five-0 because they found out they were making drastically less money than the white actors. CBS then was like, oh, okay, let's bump your salary up. And then they were like, nah, I'm good. So this isn't new in Hollywood. It just is. I think the problem is salary isn't something that you talk about with your peers in
Right.
any industry. I'm
In
not
any
talking to
industry.
Megan about what I'm making, and I'm not expecting her to tell me what I'm making, but then sometimes that's when you're in the dark and you don't know something that you need to
Yeah.
know. So if people are willing to have those discussions, then I think we could kind of avoid this, but it's taboo.
And
Talking
in
about money is taboo.
California, it's now legal to ask your coworkers what they get paid. That used to be taboo, and it still technically probably is taboo, but it's not illegal anymore to ask, hey, male counterpart, what are you making? And then to go to your manager and say, there's a difference here. Whether
Why?
or not that works for you and gets any changes or alters the way things have been after you've already signed a contract, who knows? But I think the conversation being out there is something that we should all take a good look and think, why is it that women are still getting so much less? Why? What is it? I don't
Yeah.
know.
And going back to the Emma Stone part of this, I think to myself, well, I hope she did. And I say this just because I don't think it's cool for anyone to go up to anyone, whether it was male to male, female to male, male to female, to say, hey, will you take a pay cut for me so that we can do this? I hope that didn't happen, because to me, I don't think that's necessarily fair. Do you guys agree with that? I think that's putting your counterpart in a really tough position, because they want to support you.
Yeah.
But this is also a business, and they
True.
want to get paid, and it's not their fault that they're getting paid more or less. But then there's another side of me. I watched Hidden Figures on my way back from Kauai, and so much just really struck me. Not that I haven't seen these conversations before, but those women at NASA in the 60s had to go through so much and had to, and this is Camilla, you talk to me about this all the time, just because I'm all about rules and regulations, but just because something is a rule doesn't make it right. And so I get that other side too. Well, unless Emma does something like that, say, and this is just assume, maybe in one situation she did go up to someone, not saying she did, but go up to a male counterpart and say, will you do this for me? I don't think it's cool, but I also know you have to do something drastic sometimes to get in the faces of these higher up people in the higher position to say, hey, this is what I have to do in order to even be treated as equal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes again, maybe it's a power position, because a lot of times in Hollywood, you got studios, you got executives who feel like they are puppet masters and they can do whatever. But coming together as the talent and saying, hey, I know you don't want to, and I know it's going to affect your pockets, but if we take this pay cut, we're pretty much letting them know that we're not taking, we're sick of it, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and you're either on board or you're not. So maybe they looked at it as like a power play to say, you know, we're going to take back our authority, and if it means taking a pay cut, maybe that's what it is. But it's saying you're not just going, we're aware of what you're doing, and it's either all or nothing. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the other side, because I agree, asking for someone to take less money is
Putting them
that's
in a
different.
rough
But
spot.
And again, we
you
don't
gotta do
know
what you gotta do.
We don't know for sure how it goes down.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't know if
down
it's
here.
still happening. She just said that this is something she has needed her co-stars to do, and they have done it, to be fair. So,